Hello everyone, my name is Azahra Clarista Aurelia. In this video, I want to share my reaction to a YouTube video entitled The Real Secret to Self-Confidence by Dr. Thomas Smithyman. After watching the video, I realized that my understanding of self-confidence was actually very different from what the speaker has explained. For a long time, I thought that self-confidence meant being loud, brave, or always looking sure of ourselves. But according to the speakers, that's the biggest misconception about confidence. We often think that confidence is about appearance, how confident we look to others, when actually it's something much deeper and more internal. The speaker has explained that many people practice what he calls fake confidence. This is when we try to act confident by copying behaviors like speaking loudly, standing in a good posture, or dominating conversations. Psychologically, this is different from authentic self confidence. Fake confidence is about sending signals to others, while real confidence comes from being honest and faithful to who you really are. Research shows that authentic confidence is not about impressing people, but about being comfortable with ourselves. He also talks about something called the status of signaling model of self esteem. This model explains why fake confidence can seem attractive at first. When we meet someone new, we don't know much about them. So, confident behavior makes us assume whether they are competent or successful. That's why people who act confident are often treated better in the beginning, even if that confidence isn't real. However, the speaker argues that faking confidence fails in the long term. One reason is that our true feelings eventually show through small behavior, even if we try to hide them. Another problem is that it can also affect us internally. When our actions don't match how we truly feel, it will create anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and even depression over time. So, fake confidence doesn't just push people away, it also harms us internally. What really surprised me was how research describes people with genuine self confidence. They are not aggressive or dominant. Instead, they tend to be warm, kind, approachable, and humble. They smile more and less defensive. And actually, they usually have healthier relationships. This really changed how I imagine a confident person. The speaker also introduced the chocolate cake effect, which I found very interesting. Narcissistic or overly confident people can be attractive at first, like a chocolate cake. But over time, that attraction fades because they lack empathy and warmth. This explains why extreme confidence can actually become a red flag, while moderate, authentic confidence is more appealing. For the speaker, real self confidence is defined through the idea of self fidelity. He explains that the word confidence comes from a Latin word that means faithfulness. So, self confidence is really about being faithful to yourself, knowing who you are, owning your values, and acting in alignment with them, even when it's uncomfortable. According to the research that has been mentioned in the video, authenticity fosters deeper and healthier relationships by building trust, honesty, and emotional safety. When people know that you are genuine, they feel more secure and connected. Authenticity also reduces fear of manipulation or abandonment, which is why it's so important in friendships and romantic relationships. The reason self fidelity is so hard, though, is because of an internal conflict that we all experience. The conflict between wanting to be accepted and wanting to be authentic. Many times, we hide our true thoughts or feelings because we are afraid of losing approval, love, or connection from others. The speaker shared a personal experience that really stood out to me. He talked about doing a rejection month when He intentionally faced rejection. At first, his confidence dropped because it was tied to other people's reactions. But over time, he felt more confident because he knew that he was being true to himself. He said something powerful. He felt confident not because people liked him, but because he liked himself. I think this advice could really help college students in Indonesia. Many students here feel pressure to fit in, avoid conflict, or meet expectations from family and society. Learning about self fidelity can help students be more honest with themselves while still respecting others. It's not about being rude, it's about being real. The video also changed how I think about failure. Instead of seeing failure as a proof that I'm not good enough, I now see it as part of being authentic and trying things that matter to me. Failure doesn't mean lack of confidence. Avoiding everything out of fear does. Personally, I have avoided speaking in class before because I was scared of being judged or saying the wrong things. As usually, nothing bad even happened, but I still felt disappointed in myself for staying silent. The video made me realize that confidence would come from speaking honestly, not from trying to look perfect. When it comes to self doubt, some strategies that help me are reminding myself that negative thoughts are not facts, preparing enough so I feel grounded, and allowing myself to be imperfect. Focusing on effort instead of result also help reduce anxiety. Finally, as students, I think we can support each other by listening without judging, normalizing stress and failure, and encouraging honesty instead of comparison. Sometimes, just knowing that you are not alone can make a huge difference in someone's confidence. After reflecting on the video about self confidence and authenticity, I realized that this idea also connects to my own learning journey, especially in listening. So, in this part, I also want to share my personal listening journey from high school until university and how my listening skills have developed over time. When I was in high school, my listening experience in English was actually very limited. We didn't really have real listening activities. Most of the time, we only examined short videos or simple dialogue videos and then answered to very basic questions from the teacher. Because I was in high school during the COVID period, I studied online almost the whole time. I only attend offline classes in grade 12. From what I remember, listening activities like this only happened around 3 or 4 times, and we never had a real listening assessment. And honestly, I don't think listening lessons in my high school were enough to prepare me for listening at university. Not at all. First, the listening activities were very rare. And second, the videos often had subtitles, so we didn't really train our ears to understand spoken English naturally. And because there was no listening assessment, listening didn't feel important at that time. I started to really train my listening skills when I entered university. I practiced by listening to English podcasts and watching English content for entertainment like English YouTube vlogs. And for the example is watching English speaking vloggers like the Sturniolo triplets. But the thing that helped me the most was using the HelloTalk app. HelloTalk is a language exchange app when people from different countries can communicate to practice foreign languages together. In HelloTalk, especially through the voice room feature, I can have real conversation and listen to people from many different countries. I get exposed to different English accent and speaking styles, and this really help my listening skills improve naturally. Through these conversations, I learned how English sounds in real everyday communication, not only in academic context. And I became more familiar with natural pronunciation, speed, and expressions that is used by native and non-native speakers. And until now, I still use HelloTalk because it really helps me to maintain and improve my listening ability. And it is also really enjoyable for me because I can share my ideas, exchange cultures, and have conversations with people from many countries. And in fact, because of HelloTalk, I've even got some friends from different countries. And right now, my biggest listening challenges come from my fifth semester subjects, especially critical listening and interpreting. In these courses, we are exposed to English materials on many different topics such as politics, mental health, science, health, or social issues. One big difficulty for me is when I have to listen to and interpret topics that I'm not familiar with. When the topics in unfamiliar, I often struggle with hard terms or technical vocabulary, especially in interpreting when I need to understand and translate the meaning quickly. Because of this, I try to read more articles and listen to podcasts on various topics to increase my exposure to English vocabulary. And another big challenge is when I have to listen to English accent that I'm not familiar with. For the example, in the interpreting class, I had to interpret content spoken by an Australian speaker. The accent was very different from what I was used to, and that made listening more difficult for me. And before taking the critical listening course, I actually felt quite confident about my listening skills. I thought that my listening was already good enough because I was used to English content. But after taking the critical listening course, I realized that my listening skills are not good as I expected at all. After one semester of critical listening, I can clearly feel that my listening skills have improved. And now I can understand listening materials on various topics more easily. My confusion has reduced a lot and I don't just accept information directly. I have learned how to listen more critically, analyzing to content, the intention, and the message instead of just listening passively. The activity that helped me the most was listening to real materials such as speeches from the well-known speakers and TED Talks. After listening, we didn't just answer questions, but we analyzed the content critically, discussed the ideas, and examined the speaker's arguments. This activity really trained me to listen deeply and think critically at the same time. And yes, I definitely feel more confident in listening now compared to the beginning of the class. And this is because my listening skills have improved and I feel that I'm more prepared to face different topics, accent, and speaking. This course also helped me deal with fear of failure and anxiety when listening or speaking because we use real materials like speeches and tech talks. The learning felt meaningful and the lecturer always guided discussions and encouraged the students to share ideas without judging. And this made me feel safer to express my thoughts and make mistakes while learning. And after this semester, my listening goals is to be able to understand English across various academic and real life topics without feeling overwhelmed. I also want to improve my ability to understand different English accents and strengthen my interpreting skills also, especially for the complex topics. To continue improving my listening skills, I need support from both my lecturer and my friends. From my lecturer, I hope to continue learning through real materials again like we used to and open discussions. From my friends, I need a supportive environment when we can practice listening discuss materials together, and learn without fear of being judged. And overall, this experience has helped me to grow not only as an English learner but also as a person who is more confident, reflective, and open to learning. And I think it's enough from me. Thank you for watching.